Hello, beautiful lights. Welcome back to another episode with yours truly, Landon. I am an intuition mentor and energy alchemist here to guide you to your own cellular remembrance within this reality. Within this episode, we are going to be talking about my Lemurian past life. So far, I've tapped into one main one, and many different timelines within this specific life. Mainly just tapping into really the progression and demolition of Lemuria and Atlantis. If you listen to one of my recent episodes, you kind of know the story of Atlantis and Lemuria. If you haven't listened to it, I highly suggest listening to that episode first before you listen to this one, as this one's diving into more specifics. So getting right into it, my Lemurian past life. In all the past lives that I have channeled, my name has generally started with the letter L, which is always so fun. I know in even human lives, more recent, the name Landon has been extremely prominent just within its carriage over from past to present. Within the Lemurian life that I have been tapping into, my name was Leron, L-E-R-O-N, Leron. That's just what came through when I was tapping into it, so Leron. And he was a son of Atlanteans, pure Atlantean, who really got drawn into Lemuria by his connections with his friends. And the legislatures that were passed made it pretty much like he got kicked out of Atlantis because of his deep ties with the Lemurian founders. So that is where he went from Atlantean to Lemurian, pretty much not of his own will. He did end up choosing, like, okay, since I am with all of my friends are Lemurians, I'm going to go over there. And then they shut the border, they put up protections, and you couldn't get back. Basically, he was stuck, quote unquote stuck, in Lemuria. So, and in doing that, he then made the best of it. He assisted in expansion and progression and really just colonizing or making it civil and creating that space. The way I see it is that the Lemurians really sectioned off a piece of Atlantis, and when it was sectioned off, the Atlanteans really just split the city, similar to, I guess, the Berlin Wall, but in this case, the energetics behind it really literally split the land. And there is, I'm not quite sure if they sent it away, or if it was just an energetic wall. When I was perceiving it, it did just seem like an energetic barrier between the two cities. So anyways, within and I really just channeled this situation, but what happened in my Lemurian past life was Leron really discovered that the experiments and the progression of the civilization of Lemurians was heavily influenced and expanding within bad experiments, basically. Animal cruelty and just unethical practices, just really being disgusting about what they were experimenting and why. It was basically we're just harming the animals just to see what happens. We're just doing this thing just to see what happens. There was no integrity behind the experiments anymore. It was just, we have the technology to do this, we're going to do it and see what happens. Versus when they first founded the city, it was very much humanity is expanding and we have the technology to assist in this, and so these are the experiments. Now it just got hey, we're bored, we're going to do these experiments, hurt some animals because we can. Leron saw what was happening, was disgusted by it, and I saw two timelines. One where he just stood by, I just stood by and watched, and the city just crumbled and was destroyed. There was that mutual destruction between Atlantis and Lemuria that happened. there's another timeline that I decided to tap more into where Liron decided to use his energetic understanding. In most of my past lives, I have been an advisor, a guide, a mentor, an energy warrior, I guess you could say. But I have been this person with the energy understanding to utilize it as a force for good, as a force, as a weapon, as a protective mechanism. I have been the channel for this in many, many lifetimes. And so in my Lemurian life, Liron used his energetic understanding to imprison or put into detention the scientists that he discovered were doing these experiments. 2 of them specifically, I didn't get their names, but I know he put them into energy cages and sent them to some facility where they would be held, basically. He put the animals in protective healing domes, bubbles, egg-like forms to really help in their own healing process. And then he went to the border where there was an energetic barrier between Lemurians had put up an energy border against the Atlanteans. Atlanteans had done the same thing against the Lemurians. So there was... I saw it as colors, and so there was a blue one from the Atlanteans, a yellow one from the Lemurians, and they were kind of a double layer protective barrier. And so he was trying to break through this layer because it was so well formed and backed that you could not get through it. But with his energy understanding, he knew, as I guess you could say, a master of energy practice, since he'd been in it for so long, as the Lemurian lifetimes were, Lemurian and Atlantean were back to the original, almost eternal lifetimes. It was a very long extended period of time where they could live. And so he's been practicing energy work through quite a long time. I'm not quite sure the time range because it's different in years now, but back then, he utilized his understanding to really try to decode and deactivate and break through these barriers. In doing that, my present self was able to step through the quantum realms to really put up barriers and protections around him because there were forces coming after him. What I saw were more of the robots, AI, being controlled by the consciousness of a single diplomat. And so this diplomat was very much in the process of, no, these experiments are something that we want to do. We're going to keep doing them and you can't stop us. And so in doing that, he tried to stop Liron from getting back to Atlantis to really tell the Atlantean government what was happening in Lemuria. They knew what was happening in Lemuria was not in accordance with the traditions and the intentions of the original technology, and that's why the barriers went up. However, they didn't know the significance and the range that the Lemurians had gone to. And so in doing, Liron was breaking down the borders. My present self put up protections, really helped control the situation and help Liron get through the border. And so this gets more into quantum understanding of our present self can influence the past. Our past self can utilize the present self. We can help each other, as these are just paralleling timelines. These are just paralleling lives. It is happening at this exact moment as we are experiencing this moment. And so you can help your past life just as they can help you. You can assist each other. So I was there with Liron saying hey, I'm your future 2021 self. He called me a 2021 awakener. And so did somebody else later in this channeling experience, is that 2021, apparently I'd be considered an awakener in their understanding. So in doing that, my understanding of energy was heightened because I was able to tap into Liron's understanding of energy, being able to put up extreme protective barriers and also be able to deactivate a lot of technology just with energy, and then utilizing the frequency of Howlite, I believe it was, to put asleep the diplomat that was controlling the technology and really sent him off to the prison, detention center, wherever it was, Lyron knew where it was, so I tapped into that knowing and sent him there. Lyron eventually got through the barrier and to the Atlantean government. I was talking to a woman of the time, and she was talking about how I am an awakener, and kind of explained through, I get more of a flamboyant energy of my process that I was able to go through at that time to utilize Lyron's understanding of energy. Then I just teleported over to Lyron and heard his discussion with the Atlanteans of what was happening. He was really trying to be that diplomat of, this is what's happening. We can restore Lemuria to its original intention. The Atlanteans did not want to listen, and they were ready to push the button of mutual destruction, basically. And so what they told Lyron was to get everybody out of the city, and Lyron just responded with, get them out to where? You destroy Lemuria, you destroy Atlantis. And so in doing that, then I saw the vision of just, I keep seeing a lot of water, just a lot of water of Lemuria and Atlantis returning back to a flow state. And so, and I know in a lot of lifetimes I have drowned, and also I haven't had a fear of water, but it's been coming up recently in my life, just of swimming and being submerged, and it's coming up from all of these past life memories, specifically dating back to Lemuria. And so that is then what I saw was the destruction, the mutual destruction of Lemuria and Atlantis, and Lyron going down with it, and just that whole experience. And so that is my experience with Lemuria. That is what I tapped into with my past life, just that experience of who I was, what happened, and just that whole dynamic. I hope this maybe awakened something in you, helped you tap into your own Lemurian Atlantis life, helped you understand a bit more of the timeline and the journey that these cities took, and then what the civilizations went through, and the experiences that were had during this time. Super curious of anything that came up, and again, if you are interested in working with me or expanding your own consciousness, shifting your perspective, and really stepping into your own power, message me at EnerGenetic.Alkemy, alchemy with a K, on Instagram, or email me EnerGenetic.Alkemy@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you. I would love to talk to you. But with that, I'm just going to end it there. I feel like that was a lot of information, and so I do just want to allow that to sink in. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, lots of love.